Alright. More Kerbal Space Program. Memento. Alright, let's see. What do we need to do here? Admittedly, this is a little bit of a slow start. We should have our Eve satellite coming up, or our Eve network coming up on its capture burn. Not this guy. There we are. So in 1 hour 55 minutes, we'll have to do that. We do have a reusable lander. Yeah, we have a reusable lander doing different scans here, but I think we will not be in position for any more scans for a little while. We won't be in position to do the temperature scan from this crashed lander until the sun is going down on the other side of Kerbin. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do the Minmus relay network. I need to figure out how I want to do this. And this is kind of important because once we get the relay network going, we can start more reliably launching larger craft to Minmus without worrying about falling out of network range or into a blind spot of Minmus. So we're going to need to do a capture burn and see how long that's going to take for a burn here. We want to make a roughly circular orbit if we can. Although I might just be raising our perigee after the fact. I gotta see if I can get any kind of information from the game as to what the synchronous orbit height would be on Minmus. I believe you can get to synchronous orbit height without falling out of its sphere of influence because it is so far away from Kerbin, unlike the moon. So we're just going to go for the absolute minimum burn we need to do a capture, which is right there for now. So that is going to be a 10-second burn. We are going to be able to complete that with the stage we currently have selected, which ultimately is just a stretched second stage of our K7. at 6 minutes. I was hoping I could get information on Kerbin or Minmus from here. Does not seem that I can. Now, doing a actual synchronous orbit is completely unnecessary for Minmus. As long as I have 3 satellites all in the same... In fact, it's the same with Kerbin, to be honest. If I just have 3 satellites on a same orbital period, so the same amount of time that it takes to orbit completely, and I have them equidistant apart, then they will stay equidistant apart and cover the whole moon or planet or whatever my target may be. So it's not actually totally beneficial to have the synchronous part of it, but you know, whatever. Just neat to do it when it's possible. If I get this into orbit, I might just go to the tracking center and see if I can pick up that information from Minmus, or else I might be searching it. I might be looking it up on Google. Because that is math I do not know how to do. Here's our capture burn. Just a little bit of correction. Still a little bit of fuel on this thing. Not too bad. There we go. Okay, relay network is worked out here. We're already in an orbit. Let's see, we could go into a much higher orbit if we need to. So let's see. A lot of comms. Yep, that is actually 3 communication satellites. They're identical to the ones we have in Kerbal synchronous position. So it's the same as our relay 1, 2, and 3 that are currently providing all of our Kerbal communications. These ones aren't exactly equidistant, which kind of bugs me, but they're pretty close. So what we want to see is over at Minmus. Rotation period is 1 day, 5 hours, 13 minutes. Okay, so this doesn't tell us its synchronous period. But it does tell us its SOI, which is 2,247 kilometers. So, you know, way good. Way good. So we can go much higher than that. So, alright, we don't have to be that specific. Wow, you know words. You know words, friend. Alright. Now, want to do is lower our orbit down. So let's see, we've got a 5-day rotational period now. Let's slowly adjust that. Oop, I said slowly. Just thrust limit this way down. 712 is where we are at right now. So we want something similar for the apogee. Oop. Get rid of that. Well, I stand corrected. You don't know words then, if that's what you prefer to believe. To each their own, I suppose. Alright, now. 1 day, 2 hours. I'd like a smaller orbital period than that. So let's see, this could get tricky. I was much easier able to do this in Kerbin orbit when I knew what its synchronous period was, or its synchronous altitude as well. It'll just make it much more simple. So let me see what happens if we get a uniform 600 kilometers. Okay, now. We're still 2 days away from that. It's gonna take a long, it's gonna take a long time. So, let's just think. A little less than 2 days when we do a lower orbit. Because whatever we do, we're gonna need to now launch one satellite and then figure out how much we can bleed off of our rotational period and then make them equal. Happy Christmas, brother. I always handle it in stride, friend. So, let's see. I don't know how I want to do this one this time. Could go and warp, although at 2 days, I'm just going to set a maneuver node. Circularize that to about 600 kilometers above Minmus, and then I'll work on deviating from that to start to launch a synchronous equidistant satellite network. So now, while that's doing its thing, at least I no longer have to worry about that one. Why did Adele cross the road? When I don't know. So let's see. Since I've got that network already going up, and I've got some time, before I switch back over to our moon orbiter, getting our contract completion, let's see. Let's take our moon orbiter. our station that we just used. Let's take a clone of that. I want to use that again. It's no problem. Now let's see what we need, because this game decided to nerf the AJ-10 and take it away from us. We no longer have it until we get a little further along. Let's see how I might stick us with the cheetah. I think it might be a little underpowered though. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Let's do an engine plate. We'll do a short one. We'll do a 4X. And then let's do a new version of the Terrier. Bear. There we go. Now we're talking. Some rotation just so it looks a little better. A little more uniform. There we go. Now does this need to be regular short or medium short? Maybe medium short. It might actually be regular short. I am questioning myself, but it looks like I had it right the first time. Whoa, no. Don't want a bunch of those. There we go. No, it doesn't work. Medium short. Alright, so we got now a replacement, sorta kinda, for the AJ-10. I'm hard pressed to really call that a true replacement. But we will be getting a decent amount of thrust out of that. We'll be getting 240 thrust in vacuum. We're only getting half that with the Cheetah. And I think it's slightly less efficient than the Cheetah. Yeah, just a little bit. But, you know, we'll take the thrust this time around. Now, they also made the skiff more expensive. And the Thud is still pretty expensive. So we're going to take those down. Because they also made the Kodiak a little better. It's not all bad news. I finally have a reason to use the Kodiak. So let's put the Kodiak down at the bottom. Make this look a little more like a proper Soyuz. Let's see. Let's put a set of 4 at the bottom with a core piece, just like the real Soyuz, the Cubs, and then we want a pair on the extreme edge of each set of boosters. So there we go. And that gives us about the same price as what we had. I'm going to give this a shot. See how close we can get this this updated version of the K-15 working as intended for the original. See if we can make up for this difference in the new KSP version. Now we need to disable this engine plate for staging. Okay. We can update the thrusters on this as well to the new version of the Spark, which is identical anyway. Just has new skins. it looks a little better. I can move it a little further away from the center. No, not quite, not quite. There we go. I was going to wait for a contract to make a Minmus station, but I think I'm just going to be impatient and go ahead and launch this on its way. And if need be, we can do like we did with the Mun station itself, where we launched other pieces, got our contract completion, and then combined them. Let's just make sure we don't have any crew along for the ride. Good. Alright, let's give this a try. Sail off the other side. I didn't even see that. I like that one. That was a delayed reaction on my part, but I like that. All right. Oh, wow. Makes that quite loud. Oh! Oh, jeez. Okay. That's bad. I did it dumb. How did that not burn a hole in the bottom of this? I was burning the station's fuel the whole time as well. In the fairing, I had. Alright, now that we're up high enough altitude, thankfully I didn't have a lot of fuel for it to burn, or else that might have burned a hole straight to the bottom here. I'm only just burning through these two sections of tank. Aim up a little bit, just... Ooh, that's lovely. Alright, I say just aim up a little bit and target Alright. Let's get this to auto strut, heaviest part. So Apogee's still not quite in space. separate and drive that just a little harder. We're at a pretty high altitude, so it's really not too bad. There we go. Tracker prograde. Really not doing too bad. Should put up some solar panels. Alright, now we'll do an equalization burn. Okay, English. English, Steve, is the language we want to talk today. Alright. So we'll just have a 5-second burn. This quad terrier setup actually looks kind of cool. Alright. Now I need to time warp out that next 7 minutes. Raise our perigee so we're in a safe orbit. So I would call that a successful test of the K-15. I don't know how much this weighs with the updated mass here. Yeah, so overall still weighs 18.46 tons. So we're just a little over 18 tons right now in orbit. We're not going to burn very much of that. In fact, probably the fuel we wasted is about how much we're going to end up burning. Actually, probably a little less than that. So for later iterations of the K-15, I think this might be the configuration we go for. Alright, nice circular orbit. Now we can plan our way to Minmus. It's not really letting me drag the maneuver. Probably because we ran into it now. Oop. Not what I wanted. Thank you. Maneuver. There we go. So we want a maneuver that goes out about that far. About as far as Minmus. We have to aim quite far ahead of it. Yeah, right about there. Can I do an inclination change to help that along? No. Sometimes I have brain farts with getting to Minmus. Now we're coming up on the ascending node. A 13-second burn. We got to try and navigate to this quickly because we're already outside of our burn window. Waste a lot of fuel doing this now where we're in low orbit, but it'll help us line up the transfer burn, so I'm not gonna be too upset about it. There we go, descending node. And we're more or less on the same orbit. Pretty close anyway. So now it should be a little easier. Try and set this up. Old maneuver node here. So let's see. Aha. That's where we want it. Nope, that's a moon encounter. That's a moon encounter. That is not the thing we want. Is the moon blocking us completely? Are we pulling this off? No. Okay. There is our most efficient burn. We have enough fuel to do it. Hopefully we have enough fuel to still do everything else. Yeah, I would still have another 500 or so Delta V. That should help us slow down enough. Probably won't be able to set up an exact orbit thanks to our accidental burning there on the station side. But still a fair amount of Delta V. So we're going to have a 55-second burn coming up in 21 minutes. So we're going to line it up, time warp. We're going to get this thing on its way. And I'll go and check on the Moonlander. And hopefully enough time has passed but the Moonlander will be coming across some other scans I needed to do. And then at some point very soon we'll be doing Minmus landings finally. We'll be setting up everything to launch from this station in Minmus orbit. So we'll end up needing to launch up a pair of landers, some other equipment as well, but we can all do that after the fact. Could always do all that in low Kerbin orbit and then send the finished station, but I'm kind of impatient right now. Just the way I'm feeling. Also because I want to test the K-15 and make sure that this new version is going to be what we want. I like the new heat mapping on that. That's pretty cool. little bit of course correction. Oh, and we now don't have an encounter. So let's aim prograde once more. Or actually retrograde. We're a little too far ahead of it, I think. Which really means my timing was off. So what I should be doing is actually a radial burn. If I was to not be stupid. Which is probably a good idea to not be stupid at this moment. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a radial burn. I'm going to hope I'm doing it the right way. I think it's this way. I could confirm that with a maneuver node, but right now, again, I'm just impatient. Yep, it looks like we're doing the job. Perfect. Minimal burn to correct that. I'm happy about that as well. So this is now on its way. It'll probably have a good 10-day journey or so. 9 days and 2 hours. Almost 9 days and 3 hours. So, yep, it's on its way. And we still have craft there. It's still a good while away from really needing to do anything. Let's focus in on the moon. And our lander once more. Which has barely progressed in its rotation. This is another one of those Mon 1 set kind of moments. Well, let's time warp from our current vantage point. It allows us to get more time warp out of our lander, since it's otherwise too close to the moon to time warp at great speed. I'm really tempted to waste fuel maneuvering on this thing. Yeah, still not quite. Looks like this will be the first new maneuver that it'll run into. So we will just speed that up a little bit. 1 orbit, 2 orbits, 3 orbits, a little more. This is, I think, the most time warping I've done in the entire campaign so far. We're still only on day 117. This pass might get close enough, or 114. Sorry, day 114 so far. Now, weird messages. I'm always worried that my stream is cutting out, which seems to be happening more often than it should. But no, seems okay. Quite alright. So now, almost there. Alright. See if Sidri gets close enough on this pass, or if I need to time warp one more pass. Probably need to time warp another pass, because it actually is quite a distance away, and it did not look like that from my vantage point before. Switch to the station. That'll let us time warp a little faster. Although time warping from the station probably is not the best idea because of physics bugs and glitches and all that kind of fun. But, you know. Seems fine at the moment. Watch that lander zoom across the surface. Still looks like it's going to be a little short of the first point there. So I'm going to let it do one more orbit. Possibly coming up on this one. Can never tell how close I have to be to these. That Adele joke reminds me just when I first understood that why did the chicken cross the road was a dark humor joke. I thought it was like, as a child, I thought it was just like funny because it was unfunny. Like, it was just an obvious answer, and it was just unfunny. And then eventually understood that it was just a really dark joke. Alright, back to the station and back to time warp at 100 times speed. Now the good thing about all this time warping is I'm making science while we do this. Both space stations are generating science as we go. This is going to be yet another pass, actually. This might be in range finally. I keep saying that, and I keep going back, and it keeps not being in range. This could be interesting. Looking forward to seeing how much science we get from this. We get about 17 science per day, so not really sure how much time I'm passing by here. Oop, we're entering the area that we wanted. That's good. Crew report. Send it off. Excellent. Did that close out that zone? It didn't. What are we supposed to do? Report? Broadcast? What the heck? Are we at the wrong... Oh, we are at the wrong altitude. That is the problem. Because that needs to be above 10.7, not below. Aha. That's fine. We'll worry about that one some other time. I forgot there was one scan on there that was supposed to be above a certain altitude. All the other ones are supposed to be below a certain altitude, so flying low has been able to grab everything else. So getting back to the station. Wow, we already have 45 science stored up. I would say we're doing pretty good. Go time warp. Alright, now. This lander will finally get close enough to... it's gonna need another orbit. Ooh. And before I forget about it, our little lander here, which is tipped over, should now be getting a little bit of sunlight. It should only get a little bit of sunlight during sunset on the moon, from its perspective. Oh. Yes. Okay, we have power. We're getting electric charge. Turn the lights off so we stop wasting it. Perfect. Okay, so this is getting me electric charge right now. I do want to get the temperature scan. And when we have enough charge, we're going to go ahead and send it off, because the contract that I have measure the temperature. So let's just do that part first. Let's record it. We're going to see if we can get some use out of this dead lander just yet. So I can probably resort to doing some RCS maneuvering, since it does have a little bit of monopropellant. Unfortunately, we have a ton of fuel we can't use because we accidentally impacted our engine. Just watching that electric charge go up. Let's fast forward a little bit. There we go. No worries. This has been our dead lander for a while. Just gonna use it to hopefully get a temperature scan and close the contract. I think that should be enough electric charge. Okay, that's sent off. Did we get the credit for the contract? No, we did not. So we need to see how far away that is. Okay, retract. Okay. We need to go that way. Huh. Well, we've righted it. Not that does us much good. Actually, the opposite of what I wanted. There we go. This derpiest mission ever. There you go. Let's use that reaction wheel to its full potential.